being in a neighborhood that we could spend the whole day out. But anyhow, then I started going to religion classes, and I was probably about 4th, 5th grade. 5th grade, we were preparing for confirmation, and I had Sister Maria Guadalupe. She was a Franciscan Sister of the Atonement. And she loved to tell stories, and I love to hear stories, because previous to that, I did not like going to church whatsoever. But anyway, God had a plan, I guess, because as the year went on, we read stories about saints, so we could come up with a name for a saint. And then, after my confirmation, I didn't expect anything special to happen, but I felt this presence in my life that I've never felt before. And 9 days previous to becoming confirmed, we were to pray the prayer. Who's in confirmation here? Anyone? No? There's one. A few down back there. Okay. We prayed that prayer, come Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful and enkindle in us the fire of your love. I meant the fire of love. Okay. So anyway, I also was a musician, and I didn't know how to play piano, but my friends all taught me the notes because I played clarinet in the band. And so I spent a whole summer going down to my neighbor's house to teach myself how to play the piano. Because our church at that point lost their organist. She was a high school person that was working. And so I learned to play the organ, and I used to plan the music. And the way I would do it is on Sunday afternoon, I would look ahead at the readings for the following week and let God speak to me. And then I'd find music that would go with those readings. So I was doing that at a young age. And I'm amazed because that's basically a good way to go about it, I think. When I was in high school, I tried to avoid the idea of maybe having a religious vocation, but God kept speaking to me through my prayer. And I came up here to Weber State and got a degree in music. And I used to love to ride early on campus because then I got a great parking spot. And then I would stay in my car and I would read like a whole book out of the New Testament over a certain period of time. So I spent 10 to 15 minutes before I go off to class reading the scriptures. And then I used to play the organ at St. Joseph's in Ogden and St. James in North Ogden at that time when they needed a sub. And I had a professor there that was Catholic, and so we talked a lot here and there, and they kind of felt like I had a vocation too. So after college, I looked at a few places, and then I went down to teach at Notre Dame in Christ my first year. I taught music preschool through 9th grade. At that time, there were volunteers that would come from the College of St. Benedict and St. Mary's by Notre Dame. And we women lived in a house together. And it was a wonderful experience, and they all knew I was thinking at that point of religious life. And they were saying, well, the only place we see you going is to St. Benedict's, the Sisters of St. Benedict. And it's interesting because when I did my student teaching the year before, Sister Norita Lanners was teaching at Judge, and I told her I thought I might have a vocation. So she turned my name in. I didn't know they were the same place. And then about the end of October, I heard from their vocation director, and they sent these cards, and they had questions on them about everything that was a valuable commitment to them, like community life and the liturgy. So it just seemed like I could say yes to everything that was on the questions of those cards. And so I wrote back, and in November it was my parents' anniversary, and I kind of told them that I thought I was going to be going to Minnesota the following year. And that was on my parents' 25th anniversary, which would have been November 18th. Yesterday was a celebration of their marriage. But anyway, I can just remember my mother saying, "Oh, it's so cold there." And I had no idea about anything in Minnesota. So anyway, then I did proceed to apply in the spring. And I didn't know the Sisters of St. Benedict up here in Ogden were part of the same group, because I knew them from college days. And I knew I didn't want to be a nurse. So anyway, I hadn't checked them out. But we used to go to prayer meetings that were down in Midville on Friday nights when I was a college student too. So the sisters were driving back to Minnesota, and I was done with the school year. So I drove back with them and got interviewed to enter the community, and they accepted me. So I started in the fall with St. Sisters of St. Benedict. It was a good choice.
Thank you.